we need to do a couple of important transitions, and I think that's priority. First, we need to make a transition from agriculture to industry. I think that's long pending. A lot of emphasis has been given in the recent past, PLIs, this, that. But I think the transition to manufacturing of two types, high-tech advanced manufacturing on one end and labor-intensive manufacturing. One takes you to the cutting edge of the world economy, the other creates jobs. That's absolutely important. And I think that was the biggest announcement in the last budget, which is the National Manufacturing Mission. And I'm hopeful that by the end of November, the mission will be up and running. The NMM is going to transform India's manufacturing landscape. It's going to be a very different approach, quite different, not throwing money alone, but actually focusing on building capabilities. So that's one. And the second thing is, we think of services as just restricted to the IT sector. Services in India have become synonymous with IT. Services are more than 150 sectors, you know. You're in the service sector.
Yes.
And this is also an area, because services have one advantage. Services are people-driven. It's a great employment generator. If you look at it globally, only 30% of Indians work in the service sector. It's 60% of our economy. So this is where we need to grow, which means what? Education, healthcare, professional services, entertainment, transportation, all this tourism. This is huge. And I think we have barely scratched the potential. And that's the other area of focus, which means what? Services means people. Invest in their training, improve their talent, make them high-tech, and that's when you become global. So manufacturing and services and the transition from agriculture, I think, are the big bets for India to become Viksit Bharat.
Let me pick up on the headline that you gave us, that the National Manufacturing Mission is going to be rolled out at the end of the month. And that's a big one, because that's something that we've all been waiting for. You also said that it's not just an issue of throwing capital at the problem, that we will have to reimagine the way that we look at the manufacturing sector. Leave us, I don't know how much you can share with us by way of details ahead of the launch itself, but what is going to change for Indian manufacturing? I ask you this in the context of the fact that for over 10 years, more than that, we've been talking about going from 15% to 25% manufacturing share to GDP. Will that finally happen?
So actually, let me tell you, manufacturing has had some remarkable successes in the last few years. And we have learned in the process. I mean, mobile phones is a success. There are a couple of areas where there have been successes. We have also learned from where we haven't succeeded as much as we wish to. The first thing which we have learned in, say, mobile phones, is you can't bet on a product. You need to bet on the entire ecosystem. So that's one thing. So you need to have an electronics ecosystem. You need to have a pharma ecosystem. You need to have an ecosystem for semiconductors. So there's a whole range of ecosystems.